We're in the 2023 Hyundai Palisade. It's just been refreshed. Most of the family's loaded up to review this today, so let's get into it. Underneath the hood, we have a 3.8 liter V6, no turbo, 4 cylinders in here, mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. I'm getting about 23 miles per gallon in here. It does provide up to 291 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. I can tow up to 5,000 pounds, how it's equipped with this H-Track all-wheel drive system. Keep it in normal mode for the first one here. Torque brake to about 2,000. Good launch. It's great having the head-up display. It's very clear and bright here at nighttime. 0-60 in 7.19 and 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 7.71. Flip it into sport mode this time. The gauges change. Still launches about 2,000 RPM with this H-Track all-wheel drive. It is slightly faster in sport mode. We got 0 to 60 in 7.09 and 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 7.58. So sport mode's actually a tad bit faster. I would say probably because the gears felt just slightly quicker there. And so that's the good news, is that you don't need to put it into sport mode to get pretty much the quickest times possible in this large 3-row family mover. What do you think of this emerald color? I'll see you guys down below, but really the refreshed Palisade is all about the front end. We have a much wider front end, or at least the grille design is so much wider and more substantial. Lots of aluminum on it. You got the vertical daytime running lights on each side. And this looks like the grille, but these double as the turn signals. But we're looking at the Calligraphy edition that makes this grille cascade all the way down to the bottom. Most of the other trim levels don't have this sort of sophistication, but the XRT model will black this out if you're more into that. We got a mockingbird up in that palm. There he goes, he's flying away. But we have 20-inch exclusive wheels to this Calligraphy edition. And we have a lot of kind of like this aluminum trim color, which doesn't bother me. It's much better than super shiny chrome. It's kind of dulled out a little bit. And from the side, you can just see how substantial this Hyundai Palisade is. It's great for large families, and that's why I am so happy to be testing this today. So let's get onto the back real quick. Palisade across the tailgate here. You can see a couple cameras. We have a digital rearview mirror as well as a 360 camera on this model. So there's actually 2 cameras back here. There's one here and then one up there. Pretty amazing if you ask me. H-Track symbol there to let you know you have all-wheel drive. I like the big square exhaust tips on here as well. One of the great things about the Palisade is the amazing cargo capacity, even with 3 rows of space. You lift this up and you have an additional hidden cargo space down here. I'm hiding headrest down here because the car seats up there just don't need to have them, and it makes it kind of hard actually for those car seats to fit in there with the large headrest. So you just remove them. Harman-Kardon sound system in here. The bass sounds a little lacking, but the mids and highs are pretty good and does get loud overall. And you can fold down all of the seats from back here, which I'm not going to do because there are kids sitting in the car. Rear sunshades back here, a pinstripe glossy black trim with a nice Napa leather insert here. Overall, very nice back door. It is a bit loosey and wobbly though, as you guys can see. We opened it earlier and it hit us like, look at that, that's insane. We have a great skid plate down here, let you know if you just in case you forgot you're in a Palisade. We have a beautiful sunroof in here. Make that a double sunroof because this Calligraphy comes with a lot of extra goodies. Suede roof that's super high quality. We have vents over each passenger's head for the back seats, which is amazing. We also have heated and ventilated seats in the second row. Lots of accessory power. We also have heated outboard seats back there, as well as USB-Cs for each seat. It's quite amazing the accommodations we have for the passengers back here, and it is probably class leading, at least so far that I've tested. And there's lots of space here for the kids to get in and out for an SUV, not as much as a minivan. There's a good passageway right here for them to get into that 3rd row as well. The back seats luckily are hard touch. You can see the kids like to use their feet to scuff these up a little bit, and the hard touch plastic is a nice durable material for them. Does the front door have a little wobbly? Yes. Just complete. Guys, I'm not opening it that hard, I promise you. It just has a very like loose nature to it, which does not feel quality. You never really know if the doors is gonna, like, there it goes again. So All right, enough beeping, more pinstripe glossy black, nice amount of leather here. I love the aluminum Harman Kardon sound system grills as well. Massaging seat for the driver and thigh extension. I appreciate that on this Napa leather. It's very comfortable. These headrests are amazing, which I typically don't have anything to say about headrests, but these are super comfortable. Both my wife and I have discovered. Getting on the inside, we have a refreshed steering wheel, very Sonata-like, where I can rest my hands here on the side and the bottom. We have a customizable 12-inch screen here, as well as one in the middle. Unfortunately, the one in the middle does not give me full screen Android Auto, and I have no way to switch this over here. I'd love for me to have my radio stations up here on the right. Unfortunately, I don't have them. They don't even pop up over here. I do have a digital rearview mirror, which works pretty well, but you know, it can be super reflective even when in digital mode, and there's not a lot of customization. I can only change the brightness to it as well as the height. So there's no zooming in, there's no rotating or anything. It's pretty basic, but some of you really might appreciate that. But when I look out the back, I have plenty of rear visibility. So not necessary, but I guess it's a cool feature. I love how many knobs we have: volume knob, tuning knob, dedicated buttons everywhere, push buttons for drive. My wife really appreciates that. We also have heated and ventilated seats, heated steering wheel. Here's your drive control knob, and then here's your 360 camera if you guys want to check that out. It's super high resolution, very nifty in a large 3-row crossover like the Palisade. Down below we have charging, the 12 volt, as well as lots of cargo. We have a USB here to plug in your Android Auto. It's only wired, so wired Android Auto and CarPlay. Wireless charger here though, and then you have your adjustable cup holders here. And then underneath here, we have lots of space, as well as a USB-C and another 12 volts. I can't even keep track of all the ways you can plug in your devices in this car. It's pretty mind-blowing. The head-up display in here is plenty bright. It's kind of on the small end, and it doesn't give me turn-by-turn navigation when I have my Android Auto plugged in, unfortunately. And last and maybe least, what do you guys think about this bad suit pinstripe trim? Here in the Calligraphy, I want something that's higher quality than what we see here. We have this amazing suede headliner, and we get glossy black pinstripes here that don't even match when it goes to the door trim. So really that's the only thing I can gripe about with this interior. And we're off in the refreshed Palisade. The powertrain in here is very smooth. The shifts are super smooth. It's not sporty by any means, but it feels right at home here in this large people mover. Very smooth, good amounts of power throughout the rev range, especially in the middle part. I feel like that's the high point of this powertrain, or at least the peakiness. The torque seems to come in right in the middle of the rev range, and it just is very satisfying. It's super smooth, like I mentioned, and it idles like a peach. When I throw it in the turns, it doesn't handle great, but the steering does feel really impressive, and it does kind of feel like you have a somewhat low center of gravity in here. I would say in some ways it feels a little bit more planted than the smaller Santa Fe in the lineup. It just weighs a little bit more, of course. I'll put those numbers down below if you want to see them. When I put the blinker on, I have blind spot view monitor, which puts the blind spot on the selective side that you have your indicator on, which is fantastic for families. And the braking in here is really surprised me. The braking is really smooth, very predictive. I've had no problem stopping this behemoth in a predictable and safe manner. Now, let's talk about safety. Drove out here using the radar cruise control, works great, as well as the lane keep assist here from Hyundai. I gotta talk about something that I don't like that much in this vehicle. And it's something that I always notice, no matter what's going on, as long as I'm moving anyways, is the ride quality. And I don't know, because I have nearly 13,000 miles, I don't know how many journalists this has passed through before it got to me. Maybe they've done something to, I don't know, the vehicle, the alignment. It just doesn't feel as smooth as it should compared to other offerings that I've tested on the market. And even compared to any other Hyundai and Kia that I've driven, the suspension on here is a little bumpy, and I feel tons of vibrations always coming through the gas pedal as well as the steering wheel, especially the steering wheel at higher speeds, but the gas pedal vibrations are all the time, and even on smooth roads you do feel it. And it does pull a little to the right at times. I don't know if the alignment is off or what's going on there, but I'm going to chalk most of those things up to this car having a lot of miles on it, and those miles are pretty much tripled due to what us journalists do to these vehicles. But we're going to pull in right here. we drove out to the middle of nowhere, not only to review this vehicle, but there's a nice little Pokemon store for the kids to sink their teeth into as well. So let's cut to that. Leaving the Pokemon store, that was a bit of an overwhelming experience. The kids loved it, they didn't want to leave, and that was pretty cool. Maybe we'll try to do a birthday party there soon. So let's talk about this Calligraphy, and is it worth the money? At $50,000, I don't think so. I would be getting this vehicle around $40,000 to $45,000. The SEL trim seems to be the most popular trim, and it has a lot of the features that this vehicle does, and you're saving nearly 10 grand at that point. Now, I know markups are notorious with the Hyundai Palisade and the Kia Telluride, and I'm gonna tell you, like, don't ever pay more than MSRP on these vehicles. At least in my initial impressions with this, it's not worth over MSRP. I've driven Nissan Pathfinders that have better ride quality than this, the new Honda Pilots out there, and I haven't driven that one yet, but that's going to be a very competitive vehicle. Has a V6 as well, and then you also have the new Mazda CX-90, which is going to put a lot of heat on this vehicle as well in lots of different ways, with the plug-in hybrid inline six, upscale if you want it, and also mass market if you want it. So I'll be driving that on the channel next week. You have the new Toyota Grand Highlander coming out, which should better compete with this vehicle because the current Highlander is just too small, and it has a turbo. So I wouldn't recommend that either. Just to my personal taste, I'd be getting the hybrid on that. If you are getting a Toyota product, try to avoid the turbos, just because in my testing, they're not quite as smooth as what we have in the V6 in this model, as well as the V6s that the turbos replace in the Toyota lineup. I can't wait to drive the Kia Telluride as well to see how it differs from this model. I actually typically prefer the styling on the Kia counterpart to this. The Kia is also built in Georgia, while this Palisade is built in Korea, and I would like to see if there are any differences just in build quality and ride quality as well. But I'm gonna end it there. Thank you guys for watching. Signing out from the Hyundai Palisade. It's been a great family hauler, absolutely. Try to get this vehicle at sticker price or less. I've seen some deals out there going around that you can get these now for under sticker price, which is great. But let me know if you guys think the Calligraphy Palisade is worth it at a nearly $50,000. I'll see you in the comments below. If you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you. Hit the like button. If not for me, for the cute Pokemon stuff, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great day and peace.